Hey guys, coming back to you again on Black Ops 3. I was just watching my buddy Spade. He was live streaming Farm Simulator. And in chat, I just told him just briefly, I grew up on a duck farm. And he was like, really, I'd like to hear more about it. Well, I basically, my stepdad, he raised white Peking ducks in the city of Long Beach, which is connected to Biloxi and Pass Christian down on the coast. Down on the coast, we have a big fishers market down there where they do shrimp and oysters and all that good stuff down there. It's a very large Vietnamese community that lives in Biloxi, Gulfport, Pass Christian, Long Beach, all along the coast of Mississippi. So my stepdad had raised and grew white Peking ducks. These ducks here don't fly because their bodies are heavier than the wings. He had roughly in his peak probably about 2,500 to 3,500 white Peking ducks. He had them separated. Half of them were selling ducks that he raised for selling to be, whatever, they can eat them. And the other half were called layers. And the layers would lay eggs. And every day we had to get out there and pick up those eggs. Now those eggs would range from 300 to 1,000 eggs every single day. In the beginning, we used to hand wash each and every egg in the kitchen sink. Basket at a time. We'd have like 9, 10, 12 baskets of eggs. So we would hand wash each and every egg, rinse it, clean it, and put it up. And then my dad had built some incubators where he would incubate the eggs. And this, of course, it was an incubator. And what it does is it moves the eggs from side to side and keeps them at a certain temperature. So that way the babies would eventually hatch. Now, every 7 days when you're incubating these eggs, you have to do what they call, you candle them. You look through them in a dark room with a box with a hole in it that has a light. You set the egg on top of that hole, and it'll be able to look all the way through it. The first 7 days, you'll see there's a heartbeat attached to the side of the shell, and then it goes bigger and bigger until it becomes a duck. Well, the Vietnamese community, their delicacy is they eat those baby duck eggs when they turn about 17 to 18 days old in the egg. It's a delicacy. The name of it, or pronouncing, is called Hot Bit Lam, and it means baby duck inside egg. And I may be pronouncing it wrong because it's been a while since I've said that, but that's what they would call that. And they would pay about 75 cents an egg when they would come out. And of course, in the Vietnamese grocery stores, I think they would mark them up for $1.75, and we would just sell them to the grocery store, by the cases. And so that kept us busy. Then they would come by, and they would come by our farm, and they'd pick out ducks all the time that they wanted us to, that they wanted to buy. They'd say, I want to buy that one or that one. And I'd take a net. It's like a brim fishing net, that you scoop your fish out of the water with. We use those kind of nets, and we just run out there with duck. You got these rubber boots on so you don't step in duck crap. And, it was, you'd catch them, and then you'd put them in a brown paper. We had these feed sacks we put them in and tear holes in. You couldn't kill them. You had to sell them alive. And then when they got them, they could do whatever they want with them. But usually they'd leave them in the feed sacks with the holes in them, and the ducks would stay alive till they got home. Now, at that point, whatever they did with them is what they did with them. That's on them. My dad was just in the business of selling ducks. And he's been doing this for many, 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 many years. Actually, we did it up until Hurricane Katrina. And that was what finally put the last straw in the bucket. He doesn't do that anymore. He's also disabled. He's got less than 5% eye vision now, so he can't really see very well. So that's the thing with that. So all that all at once kind of just stopped that from happening. But when I was younger, these are the things that we did. And I mean, we fed these ducks, 3 tons of feed, about every 2 weeks. These ducks would eat a lot, and I mean, we'd let them out during the day, not the selling ducks, but the layers, and they would just walk around just stay in the property. He had a little pond out there, and they'd walk around or whatever, and then at night when it started getting dark, they'd say, all right, we got to go put the ducks up. Most of the ducks would be back in the cage, and it would just be a few stragglers along the side. And we'd have a PVC pipe that was kind of long, and you just hold it and shake it, and it just scares them, and they run back into the cage, and then you lock the cage up. But yeah, man, I mean, we've sold to a lot of the community as far as the Vietnamese, and they were good people. They're hard workers. Most of them, they live as a family in one area. They save their money. They don't spend it, and they work, extremely hard. Now the younger ones, they're not as hard working as the older ones are, but they have definitely they're very a big community down here on the coast of Mississippi. We'd sell the ducks at the farmers market. It was funny. We'd go to New Orleans and take it to the East Bank side, and the West Bank side of New Orleans, and it was a most Vietnamese community. The whole, all the stores were Vietnamese, all the houses were owned by Vietnamese, or the apartment complexes were all rented out by Vietnamese. And everything was in Vietnamese writing, all in this area. We get there, we'd leave our house on the coast at 3 in the morning on Saturday, and we'd be there in New Orleans by 4:30, 4 o'clock or whatever. It'd be dark. I'd be pulling up into the little spot, and we had this cage. We went and caught up about 80, 90 ducks we brought. And we'd have this cage with hay on it, and then we'd put all the ducks inside that hay. And we'd bring chickens sometimes, because Dad had 500-800 chickens as well. We had rabbits. We had a couple hogs. I mean, it was a legit farm we grew up on. And it was a lot of work, a lot of patience. We get a lot of different things. Growing up on a farm, it's not easy. But, you learn a lot, man. And, looking back on it now, I really, really, it's taught me to be a lot more disciplined, more focused, and, self-motivator. You have to get going. Nobody else is going to do it for you. You have to do it yourself. So you get that and look, I was driving at 14 years old, I was able to, like I said, and because of the farming situation and stuff like that. So, you grew up quick, and that's a good thing. But yeah, man, we'd sell these. We'd go to these farmers markets, and we'd be there, and it was really cool, because they'd be like, how much for a duck? They'd come up and ask. I'd say $7. Oh, you too high. You too high. Me buy 2 duck. You sell to me $6. I said, no, I can't sell to you $6 or $7. They'd say, oh, this guy over here wants to sell for $6. There'd be another farmer out there with his ducks. I said, go pick their duck up and then come back and pick this one up. And they picked up their duck, and see, he was feeding them bread and corn. His ducks were they looked big, but when you pick them up, they were light as feathers, man. See, my dad used a meal that was designed just for these ducks to eat that made them real well. Guys, I hope you enjoyed it. I'll get back more into that story if y'all liked it. We had a good time. I mean, 40-9, I was running with my boy Ice. Thumbs up, and I get you another story on time I'm out.